They told him it was just getting older, slower steps, less energy, fading desire. That's normal after 60, the doctor said with a casual smile, but a few months later he struggled to climb the stairs without getting winded. Not because of his heart, but because his muscles had weakened, his blood wasn't flowing the way it used to, and no one ever told him how dangerous stillness could be. What he didn't know is that poor circulation doesn't just make you tired, it slowly chips away at your confidence, your drive, and your connection with the person you love. Hi, I'm Dr. James. I've spent over 30 years helping men rediscover strength, vitality, and yes, even intimacy through simple, natural movement. I've worked with thousands of men over 60, and I can tell you this without hesitation, the real problem isn't age, it's inactivity and how easily we accept it. But with just a few minutes a day, you can begin to reverse what years of sitting still have done. And no, I'm not going to throw gym talk at you. I'll show you how to move, gently, safely, and effectively, in ways that can change how you feel, how you love, and how you live. Before we get started, make sure to click subscribe and tap the bell icon. That way you'll always stay updated with practical tips made specifically for your health journey. And if you're finding this helpful so far, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me improve what I share with you. 1. Marching in place. 3 minutes each morning. It starts small. A few slow steps in the morning, barely lifting your feet. You may feel silly at first, walking in place beside the bed, near the window, or on your living room rug. But don't underestimate this quiet ritual. For many older adults, it becomes the moment the body says, I'm still here, I still work, let's keep going. Marching in place is one of the simplest, safest, and most effective ways to restart blood flow first thing in the day. After a night of stillness, our circulation slows. Muscles stiffen, joints tighten. The heart needs a signal, not a shock, to gently awaken. This movement gives that signal. With every step, the heart beats a little steadier. Blood begins to reach your hands and feet. Oxygen flows to the brain. Energy builds from within, not in a rush, but in a calm, steady rhythm. And if you've been feeling disconnected from your own body, like it's no longer listening to you, this simple act of moving can feel like a reunion. I remember Thomas, 69, who once told me, it's not that I don't want to do anything, it's that I feel like my engine won't turn over. I asked him to try marching in place, just 3 minutes every morning before coffee. A week later, he came back smiling. It's like I found the key again. My body turns on. I'm more alert. I even feel warmer. Beyond blood flow, this practice does something else. It starts the day with intention. It reminds you that movement is medicine, that you're not stuck, and that aging isn't a decline, it's a shift. A time to return to what your body truly needs, simple, mindful care. And perhaps most importantly, it lays the foundation for deeper connection. When your blood moves, your mood shifts, your eyes brighten, you're more present. And when you're present, closeness comes easier, emotionally and physically. So tomorrow morning, take those 3 minutes. No equipment, no pressure, just your feet, your breath, and a quiet promise to yourself. You're not done yet. And if something this small can change how your morning begins, imagine what happens when you bring that same care to the parts of your body we often ignore, the ones that quietly hold the keys to vitality and intimacy. Let's talk about that next. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Standing calf raises, 15 reps a day. At first glance, it doesn't look like much, just lifting your heels off the ground, then gently lowering them. Simple, quiet, barely a movement at all. But inside your body, something powerful begins to shift. The calf muscles are often called the second heart. Why? Because they play a vital role in pumping blood back up from your feet to the rest of your body. As we age, this function weakens, not from disease, but from stillness. The more we sit, the more blood pools in the legs, leaving us with swelling, fatigue, cold feet, or even dizziness when we stand too fast. But the moment you start doing calf raises, just 15 reps a day, you begin rewiring that system. Each lift acts like a pump, squeezing life back upward, helping your heart do its job without strain. You feel more grounded, more awake, and for many it's the beginning of a subtle return to balance, not just in the body but in how they carry themselves in the world. I once worked with Leonard, 72, who had stopped going out because of the way his legs felt, heavy, sluggish, unstable. I showed him this movement. No gym, no machines, just him, his breath, and the edge of the kitchen counter for support. 3 weeks later, he called me. "Doc, I walked to the corner store for the first time in months. My legs didn't complain. I felt strong again." But there's something deeper happening here. When you rise onto your toes, there's a symbolic lift, not just in the body, but in spirit. You're reminding yourself that upward is still possible, that strength can be quiet, that reclaiming your health doesn't have to be loud or dramatic, it just has to be consistent. And here's the secret few people realize. Improved blood flow from something as small as a calf raise can ripple into unexpected places. Better sleep, warmer hands, clearer thinking, even a spark in your connection with your partner. When the body feels alive, intimacy often follows. So take a moment, stand tall, rise slowly, and feel what it means to move upward again. And if this simple act of lifting can change how you feel on the outside, wait until you see what happens when we move inward, toward the part of the body most closely tied to connection, confidence, and quiet desire. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now, let's move on to point number 3. 3. Lying hip bridges, 10 reps each night. There's something powerful about the quiet of the evening, the stillness of the body after a long day, the slowing of thoughts, the soft settling of breath. It's in this quiet that healing often begins. And one of the most overlooked ways to restore circulation, confidence, and connection is through a gentle, grounded movement called the hip bridge. You start by lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Then slowly you lift your hips toward the ceiling. Just a few inches is enough. As your body rises, something deeper does too. Your awareness, your blood flow, your sense of control. It's not just an exercise for the lower back or the legs, it's a reawakening of the center of who you are. This area, the hips, the pelvis, the lower core, is closely tied to intimacy, energy, and how we relate to others, especially as we grow older. And yet it's often ignored or numbed by years of disconnection, sitting, or silence. But with every gentle lift in a hip bridge, blood returns to those forgotten places. Muscles soften, nerves begin to wake, and something shifts, not just physically, but emotionally. I remember Mr. Daniels, 76, a quiet man who had lost his wife years earlier. He wasn't looking to date again. He just wanted to feel alive. "I don't need fireworks," he told me, "just a spark." We started with the hip bridge, 10 reps each night before bed. Within 2 weeks, he came back with a slight smile and a lighter step. "Doc," he said, "I'm sleeping better, and for the first time in years, I woke up feeling present." What makes this movement so unique is how intimate it feels. Not in a sexual way, but in the way it brings you back to yourself. You move with intention. You listen to your body. You begin to trust it again, and that quiet trust, it often spills over into your relationships, helping you show up with more warmth, more patience, and more presence. So tonight, give yourself those few minutes. Let the movement remind you that life still lives in the places you thought were done. And if this simple nightly ritual can reignite the body's core, imagine what happens when you learn to breathe in a way that calms the heart, clears the mind, and unlocks something even deeper. 4. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, 5 minutes daily. In a world that moves too fast, one of the most radical things you can do is stop and breathe. Not the quick, shallow kind of breath that fills your chest and disappears, but the kind that starts deep in your belly, settles your nervous system, and reminds you that you're safe, alive, and still in control. Diaphragmatic breathing, or deep belly breathing, is more than just a relaxation technique. For older adults, it can be a lifeline. As we age, the way we breathe often changes without us even realizing it. Stress, illness, grief, and decades of habit pull our breath higher into the chest, leaving us short-winded, anxious, and easily fatigued. But when we breathe deeply and slowly using the diaphragm, we send a message to every part of the body. You're okay, you can let go now. The science is simple but powerful. Deep breathing increases oxygen delivery, lowers blood pressure, boosts nitric oxide, and improves circulation. But beyond the biology, something more subtle happens. Your mind clears, your emotions settle, and your presence, your ability to truly be with yourself and others, returns. I worked with Helen and Mark, a couple in their early 70s, who told me they felt distant. Not because they didn't love each other, but because they were always tired, always irritable, always somewhere else in their heads. I taught them to breathe together 5 minutes a night. No words, no tasks, just silence and breath. Within a month, Mark said, "We're not arguing as much, we're laughing again. I even started holding her hand without thinking about it." That's the power of breathing done with awareness. It's not just about calming the body, it's about making space. Space for connection, space for energy, space for intimacy to return naturally, without pressure or performance. So if you feel overwhelmed, worn out, or just quietly numb, sit down, place a hand on your stomach, and inhale gently through your nose. Let your belly rise. Pause. Then exhale slowly through your mouth. Do it again and again. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to begin remembering yourself. But here's the beauty. When breath becomes a daily ritual, your body becomes more responsive, your mind more resilient, and your heart more open. And when all of that is in sync, there's one final movement that brings it all together. One you may already be doing without realizing its true power. 5. Sit to stand, 10 reps a day. There's a quiet dignity in standing up. It's something we do so often in life that we forget what it truly means until it becomes harder. Until our legs feel heavier or our balance feels uncertain. Until we catch ourselves avoiding chairs that are too low or hesitating before rising. But in that simple motion, from sitting to standing, is a message that goes far beyond muscle. I'm still capable. I'm still here. The sit-to-stand movement might be one of the most important exercises a person over 60 can do. It mirrors everyday life. Getting out of bed, rising from a meal, answering the door. It builds leg strength, improves balance, and restores confidence in ways no treadmill ever could. And more importantly, it connects us with a fundamental part of aging with grace: independence. Every time you stand, your body says yes. To circulation, to movement, to life. Blood begins to move upward with more strength. Your posture straightens. Your breathing deepens. And with repetition, your body begins to believe in itself again. I remember Alice, 74, who had slowly stopped joining her family at the dinner table. She said the chairs made her feel too low, like she was sinking out of sight. We started with just 5 sit-to-stands a day. No weights, no pressure, just attention. After 2 weeks, she told me, "I sat with my grandchildren through the whole meal, and I stood up without anyone helping." That wasn't just a physical milestone, it was emotional. It was reclaiming her place at the table and in her life. This simple action holds power. It teaches patience. It builds resilience. And when done daily, it quietly rewires how we think about our bodies, not as things breaking down, but as partners still willing to carry us if we care for them with consistency. So next time you sit, ask yourself, can I stand with intention? Not quickly, not perfectly, just fully present. 10 times a day. That's all it takes to remind your body and your mind that strength hasn't left you. It's just waiting to be called forward. But before you dive into these movements, there are a few essential things you need to know, because even the most powerful habits can backfire if you overlook these key details. 6. Important notes before you begin. Before you take your first step, first breath, or first gentle lift, I want to offer something more important than any exercise: respect for your body, your journey, and everything you've lived through to get here. Because the truth is, after 60, our bodies speak a different language. They remember surgeries, stress, sleepless nights. They carry old injuries, quiet illnesses, and years of pushing through pain for the sake of others. And sometimes, when we finally pause to care for ourselves, we forget to listen. That's why beginning any new movement, no matter how gentle, should come from a place of awareness, not urgency. These exercises aren't about chasing youth or proving anything. They're about restoring trust with your body, step by step. Start slow. If your doctor has given you guidelines, honor them. If you take medications for blood pressure, heart conditions, or diabetes, check how movement might affect timing or hydration. If your joints are stiff in the morning, warm up with breath first. If you feel lightheaded, stop, breathe, reconnect. Hydration matters more than most people realize. When the body is dehydrated, the blood thickens, circulation slows, and muscles are more prone to cramp or fatigue. A few extra glasses of water each day can make these movements feel smoother, more supported. And so can rest. You're not behind, you're beginning again, and that requires gentleness. But above all, listen to your body like it's someone you love. Because it is. And the more consistently you respond with care, the more your body will respond in kind. You don't need to push harder, you need to move smarter. Not because you're fragile, but because your body is worth protecting. And if you ever feel discouraged, if a movement feels too hard one day or your energy dips the next, know this. Even showing up to try is progress. Even thinking about change is movement. You're not late, you're right on time. Now that you're grounded in care and clarity, you're ready for something deeper, not just what these exercises do, but how they've transformed the lives of real people. Ordinary men and women who quietly decided to reclaim their strength, their connection, and their sense of self, starting exactly where you are right now. You're not slowing down, you're coming back to life. If you've made it this far, take a moment to really let that sink in. You didn't just scroll past this, you stayed. You listened. That says something, not just about curiosity, but about readiness, about the part of you that still believes in change, in connection, and in the quiet strength that doesn't fade with age. It just waits to be remembered. These 5 exercises aren't just movements. They are invitations. Invitations to feel your feet on the ground again, to reconnect with the body you may have started to doubt, to open the door to energy, intimacy, and self-trust that may have felt out of reach for too long. They don't require you to be fit, flexible, or fearless. They ask only for your consistency, for a few minutes a day and a willingness to believe that it's not too late. Because it's not. I've seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s regain more than strength. They regain clarity. They regain joy. They regain themselves. And what's perhaps most beautiful is this. When the blood starts moving again, so does everything else. Sleep becomes deeper. Conversations become warmer. Laughter comes more easily. And that quiet distance between you and the person you love, it begins to shrink. Not through grand gestures, but through presence. Through showing up, not just for them, but for you. You see, aging doesn't disconnect us. Disconnection does. And movement, especially mindful, loving movement, is how we come back. So wherever you are right now, know this. The best version of you is not a memory from the past. He's still here. She's still within reach. Stronger than you thought, quieter than before, but ready. Start with one movement today. Just one. Let it be imperfect. Let it be small. But let it happen. Because when you choose to move gently, purposefully, with care, you're not just working your body, you're rewriting your story. And that story? It's not over. In fact, the best parts might be just beginning.